All right. So this is the workflow we're going to build. And this workflow, it's important to understand the mentality behind it or the thought process behind it. Because just learning the mechanics is not enough if you want to build or you want to learn n8n. You have to learn the mentality, the thought process behind it, which is why I'm going to explain my process behind it so that you can follow a similar pattern when you have a task and you want to build something. Okay. So this is the right way to approach learning n8n. So the first thing is the client comes to me, client says, you know what, I need a workflow that automatically checks for the sentiment of my product every day. And it sends me a brief telling me what most people think about my product. Okay. So it'll give me like a percentage, like 10% of people are positive, 25% of people are neutral, the rest of the people are negative about the product. And then also, a breakdown of what they like or they don't like about the product. And so that was the request I got from the client. Now, the workflow I built for them is very different from this one. This one is a less complex version, but you can make it more complex or as complex as you want it to be by following this video. All right. So the thought process behind it is use multiple social media platforms to pull comments from people who are who have an opinion about the product. So it's usually people commenting on ads, commenting on videos, commenting on posts. And so what we've done here is that we're only focused on YouTube. Now you'll see we don't have any YouTube segments in this workflow. And the reason for that is because YouTube does not have the features. So as you can see here, YouTube does not have the actions that we wanted to build out. And we had to create these custom actions. And we had to create, at the very least, two custom actions, one over here and one over here, so that we can search for and find the comments that are related to the product or the service that was being delivered. And then we would filter out the ones that are the latest ones over onto the filter. We'll then pass it on to the AI, which will then generate a sentiment analysis. And then after that, it would format that sentiment analysis in JSON. And then if there was something to report, it will report it via Telegram in this workflow. And the workflow I built that went to a Google Sheets. But for the sake of this video and for the sake of simplicity, we've sent it to Telegram. If you want to know how to set up Telegram, watch the previous video where I go into detail about setting up your Telegram bot. In this video, we're not going to go through it. And then if there's nothing to report, then obviously you will see absolutely nothing. So this saves you time and effort. And so we'll go through and start building this step by step. Hello and welcome to AI automation. So in this automation, I'm going to show you exactly how to go about doing sentiment analysis, which is a huge part of building uh, or understanding the sentiment around the product, a service, a business, a brand, whatever you want to do. So this is the very simple version. Now, this might get a little bit technical, but the reason why I have turned this into a really simple version of the otherwise more complex version that I did for a client recently was because people have been asking me for a link to download the workflow. And the reason why I don't usually provide a link to download the workflow is because these are made for real clients. So these are real world applications. And I don't like to just build applications that are theoretically, usable, but ones that are really being used at real businesses. And so if I provide a link to download the workflow, then that's unfair to the client, which is why from now on, I'm going to build a version of that is simpler, but has the potential to, if you follow my video, build out into a more complex version if that is what you want to do. So in this video, I'll go step by step and show you how to do a sentiment analysis, a product analysis, a brand analysis, whatever you want to call it, so that the sentiment around your brand, your product, which is increasingly important regardless of the size of your business, especially with social media and people, just leaving fake comments. And also because a lot of the comments that you will see are from people who have not really used the product. So this will give you an opportunity to plan future marketing campaigns, advertising campaigns, and whatever it is that you want to do. Especially if you're working for a business or you're freelancing for a business, this is probably going to be the workflow that you want to focus on. So, without further ado, let's cut right to it. So, we've created a new workflow. We will name this uh, test for YouTube, just so that this differentiates this workflow from the one we created. For the trigger, we're going to do just the manual trigger for now. So the thought process is we want this to run on regular intervals. But for now, we're going to use this because we want to trigger and see if the workflow works before we add this scheduler. The next thing we need is we also need, now this is the thought process. We obviously need to be able to pull data from, or the data we need from YouTube. So you'll obviously search for a YouTube node. Now this has a get a channel. So specific channels, get many channels, update a channel. So nowhere over here, let me just pull this. Is there a way to pull comments from YouTube? There's no way to do a search on YouTube. So these over here, like if I wanted to do a search on YouTube, there was no way for me to do it. So for that, I'll need to do a custom API call. For the custom API call, you need an HTTP request node. Every time you need to do a custom call, you need to have a HTTP request code. I'll move myself to the bottom over here. We also need a second one because one will be for search. The other one will be for pulling in the comments. So we'll just add another HTTPS node. Let's close this for now. Remove this for now. All right, so we've got two of these. Now we also know that we want AI to kind of analyze. So we'll go ahead, we'll drop in the AI bot, AI agent. Let's close this for now. We also know that we want a chat model. So we'll do, I usually do OpenAI, okay? But you can use any other chat model you want. So we know that this is what we want. We also know we want to output this to Telegram. So I'll do a Telegram. There you go. Send text message. Okay. We'll close this for now. Okay. So now we'll begin to assemble this. The first thing you'll do is you'll open up the HTTP node. You'll do a get, and this is the URL. This is the YouTube version 3 URL. And if you see at the end, it says search. So this is the API call that I was talking about. You would need to set this up in Cloud Console. I will show you how to do that towards the end of the video so that we're not breaking the flow of this video, and also so that people who already know how to set this up don't really have to take a detour in the video. We will set this to predefined credential type. We'll set the credential type to YouTube 0 API. Now that we set this up, we want to send custom query parameters. What custom query parameters is you're doing a custom search on YouTube. So it's like going to YouTube and doing a search. And so we'll need a few fields here. We'll just start with the first field. So we'll name this part, and you can give it any name you want. And value as type is video, and this will fetch all the video files that match the parameter. We'll then do key. And the key is the API key that you get when you set up the API in Google's Cloud Console. The query is Q, and the Q will be, let's say, Windows 11. Then we add a snippet over here, and this mainly pulls comments. This mainly pulls videos that were published in the last 24 hours. Okay, so you can give this the name time. Okay, so what we're doing here is essentially posting a snippet to search for a video. We're telling YouTube that we're authorized to use this API with this key. We're doing a search for Windows 11, which is if that's the product that you're searching for, or the service or the brand. So we just said Windows 11 as a test. This is the time. This will pull up the latest videos that were published in the last 24 hours. And here are the variables that we get. And here is everything. Here's the schema. And you can see we've got the response, 100,000 videos, over like 1 million videos. Sort of search results. So those results page 5. So this is 5 per page. So we'll go ahead and pin this, that this is working. We know that the API is working. If you only ran this and put this through the AI agent, it will send all the videos that were posted in the last 24 hours that contain this, that rank for the search term Windows 11 into the AI agent. And this will overwhelm the AI agent. I mean, there's no way for us to know whether or not even half of them are relevant to what we want. And then we're racking up AI agent or AI credits, uh, which will mean you're spending probably thousands of dollars if you send all of those videos to the AI agent. So we want to do like one by one, so that the AI agent has time to process and then process the next one when it's done, because the processing takes time. So we'll do a loop over. Okay, we'll then connect the loop over back over here, which tells us once the AI agent signals that it's done, it loops next, gets the next one in, and then sends that to the AI agent. So right now, what's happening is only the videos are being searched, and we don't just want the videos. In fact, we want the video so that we can scrape the comments. And for that, we will have to do another HTTP request. So we'll connect this to the HTTP node and run a second request or a follow-up request. First, we'll put in the API URL, which if you look at this over here, this is different from the previous one we did. This one says comments threads. So we're pulling in the comments from the videos, okay? Next one, we'll do none over here for authentication because we already have the authentication. And then query parameters will be, the first one we'll do part. We will give it the name snippet. Actually, lowercase and lowercase here too. We'll add another parameter because we want to search for specific comments. All right, so now we want to add the video ID so that we know where we're pulling in the videos from. I'll just go to items, pull in the video ID, because for every video ID, you want to pull comments. We'll add another parameter, text format. We'll give it the value plain text because we want the output to be in plain text to go to the AI. We'll add the key. We'll give it a value. Add another parameter. And we're going to order this by time. We've got an output, pin the output, comment ID, E tag. This is what we want. We're on the right track. So now if we're fetching the comments right now, if we connect this to the AI agent, it will send maybe hundreds of comments to the AI agent. And again, that will overwhelm the AI agent. And that is something we do not want to do. So what we want to do is add a splitter. And this will split the comments into segments and it'll segment out the output so that only the relevant ones are sent out and it does not overwhelm the AI agent. So what we want to do here is pull in the items. There you go. And this is all we need to do for this step. I'll hit execute. And you see it's just one comment at a time, one kind, one E tag, one ID. Okay, we'll just pull this over here and scoot the sheet over. So now we also want to make sure that we're sending in the most latest comments. So we don't want comments from yesterday because once it starts running, it will pull all the comments out. So every day it'll pull all the comments. We just want to pull comments from the last 24 hours today. Then tomorrow pull it from the last 24 hours. Then day after pull it from the last 24 hours. We don't want to like pull all the comments in. And so what we want to do is we're going to add a filter. All right, so looking at this, I realized that I might have made a mistake because on the original HTTP request, we're missing a few outputs, which are necessary to making sure that the comments output. So it's not really the time or anything. It's something we were missing on the original HTTP request. And since I'm building this off memory and I'm building this live, so obviously these mistakes are live too. They'll go back to the HTTP request. So this is the one I think that I've messed up. So we'll go back over here. Let's scroll down. So we've got this, we've got the key, we've got the search term, we've got the time, but we're missing the maximum number of results because we cannot process thousands of results at a time. So we'll just set this at, we also have these results in thousands of languages. So we just want the English. We will do en, add another parameter. We also have all durations. We don't want to process like super long durations. So we'll do medium, or you can even do short. And so this is what we're missing. We'll go ahead and run execute on this. Okay. I think we have covered everything. All right. So I made a bit of a mistake with the HTTP request. Just want to show you guys so that you don't make the same mistake. And I'm accustomed to having the first letter of every word being uppercase. But in this instance, that is not really something you should be doing because it will. So what I made the mistake was I would put part as an uppercase. And I was troubleshooting that and I figured out, oh my God, I forgot that all of these should be lowercase because without lowercase, this will not show. So title, description, and the video channel, this snippet over here will not be visible. So let me show you. So if I turn this to uppercase just to make the point and I execute, see, the snippet disappears because this is non-existent. All right, so you're essentially removing it by making the first letter uppercase. So this will be lowercase. I'd execute and then pin. And so we can go back. So now we can go back to the filter stage or go forward over to the filter stage where we were supposed to filter out the comments. All right, so everything else is exactly the same. Nothing else has changed. Go ahead and pin this. And we will go back to the filter over here. So we wanted to filter the comments. So we have the latest comments that were published within the last 24 hours. Okay, so once you've gone ahead and pinned everything, we go back to the filter over here. So we run the whole sequence and we've pinned all the outputs. So we'll go back to filter. All right, so you should end up with something like this. Just make sure you get the formula correct. I just want to show you guys, all right, this is how it should look. This is how the expression should look. And just make sure you get the code correct. And if you get the code correct, you'll see discarded 20 items because all of these items, they're not older. So what we'll do is we'll change this to not equal to. All right. And so then we will keep all of the discarded items. So all of the items that were otherwise being discarded to will now be kept. All right. So what we also want to do is change this to is after. All right. So this is the correct statement. Just make sure that you do it exactly like this and go ahead and put the data or the output over here. Go back to canvas. And then we'll hook this up to the AI. Go ahead and hook this up to the AI agent over here. All right, now we're going to give the AI agent a couple of instructions. I'll copy and paste the instructions and I'll show you what it does. So what we're going to do here is do a connected to chat trigger node. Sorry, you want to do a connect define below. And then you insert the top level comment. So we're passing the top level comment that we did from the previous node and we're passing it into the AI. I'll go back on this. So we're done. Click save. So I'm going to make sure you save because there have been instances where my server restarted and then I had a problem getting it right back. And I actually lost all of my workflow. So the word prompt is you are a helpful assistant. You are a lead generation expert. Analyze as to branding. You're a helpful assistant. You are a branding expert. Analyze the YouTube comments provided by the user. Determine if the commenter is happy or unhappy with the product. Categorized accordingly. You must reply only with a valid JSON object in this format. Not happy. Short summary of why they're not happy. And not include markdown formatting like JSON. Just the raw JSON string. So we've done this. Go ahead and click back. All right, now we need to sort out the chat module. So we'll click over here, open up the chat module. I just want something that is cheap for this, but you can use anything you want. I'll use 4.1 mini. But again, you use the best model you can afford, because this is going to be business analysis. All right, so that's pretty much it. So we go back to the canvas. This is also a great tool to find people who might be unhappy with your product or service, and then you can go to that comment and you can respond to it positively. So that, and this is great for brand reputation management. And if you're doing brand reputation management, you want to know where negative things are said to you, said about you or about your brand, and you can go ahead and you can answer those queries or those comments just so that your reputation is not tarnished. So, all right, go ahead and click. So you see now we have a problem. So the output over here is, it's plain text kind of an output. It says happy, true, not happy. All right. So happy is true. So it means that they're happy. The commenter expressed gratitude for the video and asked a follow-up question indicating engagement and a positive reception. And so if you're Microsoft, you can go ahead and respond to this comment. All right. So we'll go back to Canvas. I will set up an if node. All right. So if the happy, so you see our output over here, it says, we can't put these into values, right? So we need some code to help us do that. So we need some code to break this into two separate values. So to do that, we add in the code snippet. So we just move this over here and we add the code snippet. And essentially the code snippet takes that text and turns it into JSON for us. Right, so we do once for each item, we do JavaScript, we paste in the code over here, and I'll go through it real quick. So it says, get the text response from AI, double check if the AI node output is named yes. Oh, sorry. It was happy or not unhappy. So we would change some of the stuff over here, because that's only the commenting. And we'll do let AI find JSON part. It matches JSON match. Error string dot match. AI phrase. No JSON found. If AI fails, false. Error praising AI response. Merge return the original. So we have to JSON input keep video ID title etc. The summary. Okay, we execute step over here. All right, so we should now see the output. So happy. So happy is a separate, it's a separate node, and not happy is a separate node. We have the output over here. We have happy is true, which we want. Unhappy, for some reason, it's also breaking this down into unhappy. All right, we'll go ahead and pin this. What we can do is we can do output. So output is equal to true. Execute step. All right. So over here, now we get these three branches. So we have the output, which is happy, true, unhappy. We can go ahead and then decide what we want to do with it. So for true, we hook this up over here. Or if you want to see people who are not happy, you would hook this up over here to uh, Telegram. So just to go back and show you guys. So this is the true branch, and this is the false branch. So in this case, if you hook up the false branch, you will get a message whenever the false branch has an item. And if you hook up the true branch, you always get a message when the true branch has an item. Now, the reason why this is in the false branch, even though, you know, the person was happy, just depends on what you want to do. So I want to get all the ones that are true and other ones that are false. The ones that are false are guys that are overall happy. So I don't want to know about them. I want to know about the guys that are not happy. But you can easily change that over here. So you can easily change that over here and that will change. And once you change, this will then go back and send you a message depending on how you set this up. So real quick, so you can set up the false range over here. And in the previous video, I showed you how to set up your Telegram, but I'll just really show you this real quick how to do this over here. All right, for text, you can have this as your output, or you can have this output as your text, regardless of what it might be. And you can add a chat ID. This will come in from your Telegram, from a Telegram bot. And when you execute message, you will get the message. Okay. So it's really simple on this end. So I'll show you how to set up your Google Cloud or your Cloud Console for YouTube. All right. You'll go to library over here on the left. You'll search for YouTube API. Okay. This is a V3 API. You go ahead and enable it if it's not enabled. In my case, it is enabled for obvious reasons. And we go to APIs and services. All right. We do credentials. You create credentials, API key. You create this for websites. All right. Or you can do it none even. Doesn't really matter. But just make sure it just does not restrict key. Give your API a name. Click create, and you'll get the key that you see in the HTTPS requests. And that's just about it. So I hope you found the video helpful. Like and subscribe as always. Leave a comment below. If you have a suggestion, you want me to build a specific workflow, let me know. If you need someone who wants to build a workflow, or you need to hire a professional to build a workflow for you, feel free to get in touch. And I'll see you guys in the next video.